Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to a little bit of training. I thought I had my another screen up, but I've not at the minute. So whilst I sort that out, I'm just going to give people a chance to come online. I know there's always a little bit of a delay and all that kind of stuff, so let people come online, and then we'll get into this week's training. So just bear with me. Just stay with us until people going on, until people come on. I don't know why that's not working. Okay, guys. So I was trying to get I've got a few slides there that I was going to show, but for some reason they're not showing. So, hi, Greg. Yeah, I can see you there, mate. So basically, we're going to roll with just me on the screen, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get these slides up, but it doesn't matter if I don't get them up, because I can just talk off the slides, and obviously you guys can look at me, and I can share the slides in this little thread and all that kind of stuff. So, so that's what I'm going to do. Basically, obviously, this is our weekly training where really we're gearing towards getting you unstuck. If you're kind of struggling with something, if there's questions on your mind that you're kind of dwelling on a little bit, and this is the training that is aimed towards getting you unstuck and keeping you cracking on, and remembering that your health, your fitness, your relationship with food is very much a dial. And every week we just want to turn it a couple of notches, instead of it being a switch where all of a sudden you're just some guru and you live on virgin olive oil crushed by 1,000 Grecian goddesses or whatever. You know what I mean? It's not always like that. It's more of a diet. So if you've got sound, if you've got vision, if you can hear me, if you can see me, then just give me a number 1, so that I know we're kind of getting somewhere. Or some thumbs up. Thumbs up tend to work quite well. So give me a couple of thumbs up on the screen, and I know that you can hear me. I know that you can see me, and I know that we can kind of crack on already. Yes, Helen, how are you doing? Couple of questions from you, Helen, that was posted in the group. We're going to be talking about them a little bit. Cheers, Greg. Yeah, got your number 1 there. So, brilliant. So we've got a couple of people. Just give it another couple of minutes to see who else comes on. So we've just got a couple of people right now. And I know I was expecting a couple more. So, obviously, straight away you'll notice that it's just me. Paula's up at camp at the minute. She's doing some one-to-ones. There's a few people graduating from the Kung Fu Court. Are they graduating or going home for a week? I don't know. I can't remember which one. But they're going home anyway. And Paula's doing a couple of one-to-one sessions with them before they go, to make sure they're ready to go. And she has promised me that she's going to jump in and say hello and add a few things when she gets back. So you should see her. Later on. The way this little bit of training is going to go, I've got a couple of things that I want to talk about. I want to give you a little bit of news, get a little bit of news from you. Then I've got some questions that I'm going to kind of read out. I've got 3 main questions, as always. You can put your questions in the little comment box along with this live video, and we should have plenty of time, to be honest, to get into your questions today. Anything that you just think, I wonder what the score is with that. I hope Ash is with us. Ash, give us a number 1 if you can hear us, and we can get a bit of input from Ash. Ash is obviously one of our trainers. No worries, Greg. It's usual for there to be a bit of a delay, and I'll always try and pad between asking a question or asking for your input and actually, you know, reading out comments and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll bear with it. So yeah, we're going to do a couple of questions, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch our little challenge for this month. Every month we're going to work on. Cheers, Ash. We're going to work on getting running some kind of little challenge, and the idea is that it's just a little bit of extra peer support, accountability. You know, getting you to think in different ways, try different stuff, all geared towards either changing your relationship with food or helping you with your fitness, fat loss, and motivation, inspiration, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So that's kind of how we're going to run. We'll literally give it another couple of minutes, and then we're going to dive into it. I wish I could kind of share these slides, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. So no. What I'll do is I'll share. I'll make an effort to share the slides as we're going along in the little feed. Hopefully it won't be too much of a distraction, but I think it'd be good for you to see some of the pictures and some of the slides that I've got, and it'll help with the overall presentation of this training. So give me a minute. Come on, Steve. Doesn't look like I can actually put pictures in here. Never mind, doesn't matter. Right, okay. So we're gonna get straight into stuff, and I kind of want to, you know, get into some of these questions and all that kind of stuff. And Ash, I know you can only type and you can't really do anything on voice, but if you've got input as well or things that you've experienced at camp, basically, if you don't know, Ash is one of our senior coaches at a boot camp now. He does a lot of the training and stuff, but he's got a whole wealth of experience in the fitness industry and nutrition. And his background, he's done a lot of international level Muay Thai, kickboxing, all that kind of stuff. And to top it all off, he's a genuinely nice fella. You know, free of ego, free of sort of any arrogance and all that kind of stuff. And he'll have some really good information for you tonight as well. So thanks for joining us, Ash. I don't know how long you're staying for, but it's nice of you to jump on and join us for this event. Another thing is Ash does a little bit of coaching at camp as well, where he does some of the one-to-ones and all this kind of stuff. So he's perfect for this sort of thing. Okay, I always start then, and I just want you to have a little think about and post your wins for this week. You know, what are your wins? What is your number one win? Have you had a couple of wins? And let's just have a little bit of a celebration of your wins. So what is it? You know, what have you done this week which has been different from all other weeks, where you've really been tried and tested? It's taken a little bit of inspiration or something extra in order for you to sort of do something different, you know, and it's made you feel good. It's made you feel a bit of pride, or made you think, you know what, I am worth it, or I am better than this, or whatever. So stick them down. What are your wins? I'm going to share one of our wins in a minute as an organisation, and then one of my own personal wins. So because of a little bit of a delay in that, we'll just give it a couple of minutes and then see what we've got. Okay, Ravi. Yes, I know you got to gym. Welcome to the training, Ravi. Ravi is one of our current Conquer Foodies. In fact, he's actually our longest serving Conquer Foodie at the minute. He's been here quite a while, and it's good that you're on this training, Ravi. And it's even better that you was in the gym. I saw your little post that you was in the gym there. Greg back in the gym as well after being ill. It's the first day back, but the feel afterwards was spot on. I know it's like if you could just bottle up the feeling after we've been for a run, been to the gym, you know, done something, and then every time we're like, oh, I can't bother to go, we could just have a sniff of it, or a bloody, you know, or a taste of it, or whatever. I'm just like, no, that's what I'm going to go and get. Life would be so much easier. So good effort, Greg. That's a great little win. Just go for another. Put some beam snowed in. Yeah. Bear with me, guys. I just need to plug some stuff in. Right, I'm quite interested into what Helen's win is, because I know she's been a bit active in the group this week, sort of posting a few things, and went back to training and signed up to a new class, club size. Brilliant. This is fantastic. So they're all wins, and a lot of them wins are physical wins. What about nutritional wins? Anybody had any sort of wins with regards to food, or changing the way they eat? Did they remember we set a little bit of a challenge before where we was kind of saying, let's up our water intake if nothing else. So what about nutritional wins? And obviously with this little section here, we're trying to get ourselves in a positive state. We're trying to get ourselves to realise that we've made progress this week, which is very, very motivating and quite inspirational. And we're bouncing off each other as well and sharing these wins. Because left to our own devices, we probably wouldn't recognise it. We kind of, that goes by. Seeing some of the positive changes in the long-term campers this week have been amazing. I've personally taken so much inspiration from them. The way they've all trained this week, despite the weather, has been incredible. Yeah, it's been pretty tough. The lads, Ash and Reese, 2 trainers this week, have really sort of, they've had to grind it out. The weather's been really, really shit, if I'm honest, and it's been tough to motivate some of these people, but they've done incredibly, incredibly well, which is good. And I'd say another interesting thing for everybody else on this thing is, like, you might think that trainers often just sort of stand there and all they do is, they're just comparing you, or just, whatever you think they are thinking. And there's Ash now, an incredible trainer, and he's been inspired by the hard work of other people. They wouldn't class themselves as regular trainers or particularly at eating or anything like that. It's quite interesting, how sometimes we mind read and we get it completely wrong. Right, Greg, what we're saying is Day Wednesday regarding food, back on the wagon today, and that's the key thing, and I know in your post, Greg, I saw it, you had a bad day, and you kept it at a day, or a couple of days, a day and a half or whatever. And to be fair, I challenge anybody to get up at 2 a.m, go on a bloody 500 or 600 mile journey in a truck, and not be overcome by cravings, or the thought of stopping. Every time you pass the service station, you're getting little reminders, and also previous habits that you've had before. That is a tough challenge, and I think you've made a massive win there, where you've kept it to a day and a half, and now you're back on the wagon, and that's what it's about, because consistency is key. It's what we consistently do. Now, if you consistently get in your wagon, get in your truck, and eat shit, obviously, that's going to have an effect. If you consistently have the odd day here and there, but you consistently get back on it as quick as you can, you're going to reap the benefits there. So that is a massive, massive thumbs up from me, Greg. I think you've done incredibly well. Anyway, I think that's pretty much everybody. One of my wins I want to share, I don't know if you know, but T-Boot Camp was featured on the Jeremy Kyle show again today, and with Lee, which, Lee is our conquer foodie from the Jeremy Kyle show at the minute. We have this partnership with Jeremy Kyle show, and he's come with us, and he's done incredibly well. I'm going to let you into a bit of a secret, obviously. Ravi, Ash, you know this, but we set a target on the Jeremy Kyle show for Lee to lose 6 stone. I was sat there thinking, this guy, his mobility is dramatically affected by the way that he's carried, and I'm not sure. And I was I threw 6 out, but I was going to say 5, and then Jeremy Kyle went, right, 6 stone, you lose 6 stone, blah blah blah, and then that was the challenge set. But then I was like, no. In my mind, we want to get 7 stone off him. Anyway, regardless, he's done 8 weeks now. He's done 8 weeks with us. He's had a couple of issues. He's ended up getting gout in his feet. He's got these issues with his feet, and he can barely train. I should back me up on this. So he's kind of just chipping away at it, but he's actually chipping away at it incredibly well. And he's lost 5.5 stone already. So we're very, very close to this 6 stone target, and we've got 4 weeks left to go. He's just doing incredibly well. His whole life's changed. He's so much more positive and all that kind of stuff. And just seeing Lee on the screen today was incredible. I know it'll be on YouTube tomorrow, or Catch Up TV and all that kind of stuff. And it was just incredible to see Lee how he was then, and I was sat next to him, seeing how he is now, and I was just like, brilliant. And it was a massive win because I love seeing that. So that's the wins. Good. Right. Okay. So let's get into some of the Q&A, and then obviously later on we're going to launch our sugar-free challenge. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out some of the questions that we've had. Before I do that, Greg, so the service stations are very powerful reminders, don't you think? 100%. 100%. I mean, you've only got to look at it. Every time you're driving up to the service station, you've got all the branded icons on the signs now, and it's like, and I believe that there are certain situations in life where you find it really, really tough to make a smart food choice. Travel is one of those. If you're traveling, because think about it, quite often one of the big drivers to eat is boredom. We hate sort of sitting around and doing nothing, and a lot of driving now is subconscious. We don't have to think about it. So all we're thinking about, we start to think about the service stations and what's in there and all this kind of stuff. And then we start giving ourselves little excuses for getting in there. And before you know it, you're eating something. And I've fallen foul to it. That's exactly, it's just like, it's like a captive audience, isn't it? You've got all these people that are just sort of monging out on the motorway. And, you're getting tired, the blood sugar's all over the place, you stop off, stretch the legs and all that kind of stuff, and they've got you. They've really, really got you. So it's tough. You're not going to beat it every time, Greg. That's one of the key points, and I think you played it incredibly well by going, you know what, it is what it is, and I'm going to crack on. I want to move on from it. Okay, so first question. I've got two questions from Helen. This is the first one. So it basically said, I'll be late as my interval class doesn't finish until 7:30. Obviously, the weather is shut the gym for the night, so she's with us. So thanks for joining us, Helen. One of my questions when I was at camp, we stopped eating at 6, but all my classes don't finish until 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and I'm always really hungry after. Is it okay to have my dinner after training? I've been told you're meant to eat after you've trained hard or you burn muscle, not fat. Is this true or bollocks? But I would really struggle not to eat after I train. Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, let's take this. There is loads and loads of fitness myths, and there are loads and loads of things that people say which have completely been interpreted the wrong way. I had this conversation the other day with someone in the Conquer Food community, and they were saying, I don't know what's good food, I don't know what's bad food. And I said, well, food is just food, and they were sort of saying, but one week you can eat an avocado, next week you can't eat an avocado. And I said, well, the avocado stayed the same. The human body stayed the same. What's changed is the interpretation. And it's the interpretation that kind of gets mixed up, and this is what confuses people. Later on, we're going to go into Katie's questions, and she sort of, she talks about this a little bit. So first of all, this idea of, you're supposed to eat after you've trained hard because you'll burn muscle unless you burn fat. Here's the problem, right? There's a couple of things. First of all, we've got to look at who this is geared towards. And I would say, if you think about it, if you go to the gym and you're trying to manage weight, you're trying to lose weight, you go to the gym, let's say you burn 500 calories. You go home and you eat 700 calories. You see if we boil it right down to the basics, you see the problem there. We're trying to create a calorie deficit in the gym, but then we eat more when we come out. So this is the bit of an issue. There is no need, if you're trying to manage weight, there is no real need for you to eat afterwards. Okay, it shouldn't be something that you feel you have to do, Helen. If you choose to do it, and that's fine, but you don't have to do it, because a couple of things. First of all, that advice is really geared towards high-level sports people or people that train every day and they train at a real high intensity. So if you had got a big training session the next day, you might want to replenish some of those energy sources that you've used. But I would be pushing for a bit more, as much of a deficit as I can. I'd be very cautious about what kind of food I eat. There is a thing that we call the golden hour. where after you've trained hard, the body has got this natural craving for protein to rebuild stuff, energy to replace the energy stores that we've used. And if you can hold off a little bit, then you can make maximum use of the stuff that you've done. When you talk about muscle and fat, that's a bit of a contradiction, because what I'm saying there is, if you eat to make sure you don't burn muscle, you burn fat instead. That's a contradiction, because eating by proxy will trigger insulin to be released in the body. If insulin is present, it's really hard, if not impossible, for the body to use stored fat as energy. I hope that's not being missed on people. So what I'm basically saying is, if you eat and spike insulin, it's almost like the body closing the door on the fridge freezer and not allowing you to get to use fat as energy. Okay, so more than likely it's going to use energy that's around in your bloodstream, in your liver, stored in your muscles. But if you've done a real big hard training session, then it might be that the only thing it can tap into is muscle. The thing to take away from this is, when you finish your training session, I would recommend that you have a moderate meal, a moderately sized meal, because as humans we will always estimate how much energy we've used up in the gym and underestimate how many calories we consume, right? And people are like, you'll go to the gym, you'll do an hour of spin or 40 minutes of spin, and they'll think, oh, you know what, burned, however many calories there, probably 500, 600, 700 calories. That means I can have this massive pizza and a bottle of wine, 2,000 calories, and that's quite often what we do. So the key for you, Helen, what I would recommend is that you because you have this, you feel crap if you don't eat after you train, and because it's slap bang in the middle of your main dinner time, we're really looking for a moderate meal. The other thing is, between eating that late at night, is that what it is going to do, it's going to slow down or stunt. Is that the word? Stop. The release of growth hormone in the body when you go to sleep. Okay, it's going to affect it. Now, growth hormone is a chemical that we produce naturally in the body, and it is incredibly important for looking young, looking after our skin, our hair, our bones, our muscles, and all this kind of stuff. It really, really, really is a powerful serum within our body. When we go to sleep at night, then we naturally release growth hormone. That's why sleeping is not really sleeping, it's healing, because all this hormone is released. If we have a big meal, if we overeat before dinner, a couple of hours before bedtime, it can slow down this release of growth hormone. So to top it off, what we're looking for doing is, yes, eat, but remember your portion sizes from camp, and and have a moderate meal. It's no good if you go in and actually filling your face, head in the trough type stuff. When you're having some protein and veg after training, yeah, fantastic. And and I would say, knock yourself out on green leafy veg or broccoli and all this kind of stuff. And I would say that, for you, if you're training every day, Helen, let me know if you're training every day. It seems like you're doing lots of different classes and stuff like that. If you're training every day and you've eaten moderately throughout the day, then what I would do is I would start off and I would perhaps have, as well as my protein and veg, if you feel like you need something a little bit extra, then perhaps half a sweet potato, half a sweet small potato. Best case scenario is a yam, because yams are really good and full of vitamins and minerals and good energy as well. And try that, see how you go with that. But I meet a lot of people that have their massive training session and then have a protein shake, and it's kind of counterintuitive if you're managing weight. Helen, if you feel that that's answered your question, then let me know. If it's sparked new questions, then get them out, and everyone else put them in the thread now, and we'll tackle that as well. It's one of those things where we can, we can overthink it. We can think it's more important than not. What we've got to be doing is, we've got to be thinking about, what is my goal every time I go to the gym? Am I simply working on becoming fitter? Is it about performance? Is it that I am managing weight? I've got some weight to lose before I'm happy. Then we need as much of a deficit from our training as we can. Ash, anything to add to that? Although I know you're kind of restricted because you've got to type it out, but I'd be quite interested if there's anything for you to add there. And other people, let me know if it's clear. It's clear what I'm saying. The key points: a moderate meal after you've trained that late at night. Keep it moderate because it will dramatically affect your growth hormone release and your sleep. You know, if sometimes we eat a lot before bed, it affects our sleep as well, and that sleep is much more important than, you know, the training that you're doing and the food that you're eating. Sleep is one of those massive, big hitting keystone habits that we get that right, and a lot of our life falls into place. There's a great book that I'm reading at the minute called Why We Sleep, which is unbelievable. You know, you know what it says in there. It used to be like people used to question, what is sleep good for? Why do we do it? Now what they're saying is, what is it not good for? Because it's good for everything. Yeah, I should put there no sports drinks. You know, quite often we go to the gym and all this kind of stuff, and then people are coming out and they're having a Lucozade or a Monster or something like that, and that's Helen, that is way out. That, you know, that's not something you want to be getting into. You know, whilst you're managing weight and that late at night, it's just packed full of sugar, and I'm pretty sure you're not doing that anyway. But you know, that's a definite no after that. There's just no point. All you're doing is replacing the energy that you've just used in the gym. Good, right, okay. So Helen, let me know how you're getting on. We can always pop back to that question if you want. But we're going to move on to this next question from Katie, which is pretty. I mean, there's parts of it pretty deep. What I would say is that, you know, fair play, Katie, for sharing this. You know, some of it quite personal. It's quite long, so let me be out. Okay, so Katie, having an anxious, stressful food day. We have them. It does happen, you know. What? Helen just popped up. I don't drink it. Perfect. Good, Helen. I get worked up and confused when a proportion of people say eat everything in moderation, and then you get another proportion of people say, you know, it's fine to cut out carbs and all this kind of stuff, right? So she gets kind of confused and all that. I feel like if I don't stop eating unclean things like bread, then I'm just being greedy and not trying hard enough. But on the other hand, I feel like I should be like other normal people at my age and eat a lot of everything. Okay, then it says, food stresses me out, and intrusive thoughts like, you're not good enough, you need to lose more weight, you're not trying hard enough, get the better of me sometimes. How do you know what's the best way to eat? Okay, so how do you know what's the best way to eat? We have a 3M process at camp that we teach, which is basically you measure yourself, you monitor what you eat, you measure yourself again, and then you modify what you're eating. And you basically run that cycle, you know? You keep running that cycle every week until you kind of get a control and you're getting the results you want. Now, I hear what you're saying about, you know, people that get confused about, some people say this, some people say that. And the thing is, Kate, there is a million ways to skin a cat. There's loads of ways to eat to manage weight. Some are good, you know, some are easier than others. Some are suited to some people more than others. Some people are suited to certain lifestyles. Some people are, you know, some of them are certain things. But, you know, they're all come with the right intention. You know, they're all wanting to do the same thing. The thing that I say is that, you know, there's a quote that I always remember. And the quote is that unsuccessful people criticize. Okay, whenever we're criticizing something we've heard, we're not really doing anything productive with it. You know, we're just sort of, you know, bashing it around and all this kind of stuff. And we kind of expel a lot of energy questioning that, you know. And then the other side of the quote is, so it's unsuccessful people criticize, successful people analyze. And what I want you to do is kind of think about, you know, run your own tests, you know. And you've done enough of it. How do you feel when you eat this way? How do you feel when you eat that way? What happens when you're this way? And the thing to look out for is how in control are you afterwards? You know, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody says to you. It's like Paula, with Paula, she knows that if she has some sugar, more than likely she's going to lose control, and it's going to start this wave of binging on sugar again. Therefore, the right way for her to eat is to not eat sugar, and that's kind of what she sticks to. With me, I can get away with it, with training and, because I haven't got that much of a sweet tooth and all this kind of stuff, I can kind of get away with it. So straight away, we've got two different people, two different approaches that kind of work. You've got to find something that works for you. And you've always got to remember that when people give you this advice, you've got to go, well, what are you basing it on? Is it their own experience? And, you've got to kind of look at them as a person and sort of think, right, is this credible information? So that's the first thing. With regards to foods and all this kind of stuff, we say that there is no good food and there is no bad food, right? Which at first, when you first hear that, you sort of think, well, no, I don't quite get that. The key thing is that there is no good food or bad food. There's just the wrong context. So, for example, if we take Greg's Chocky Bar when he was out in his truck, right? The Chocky Bar is not good or not bad, right? In isolation, But if we look at the context, so he's been on the road since 2:30 in the morning. He's absolutely shattered. He's going to really crash his truck if he doesn't sort himself out and wake himself up a little bit. His blood sugar's low. He's really struggling. He's constantly on the move. He needs something to pick himself up a little bit, and he's had a chocolate bar. As long as it's one chocolate bar or two chocolate bars or whatever, it lasts a day or so, he's fine. If it's every day, 3 or 4 times a day, for a month, wrong context. The chocolate bar is not the issue. It's the habit. What you're doing consistently becomes the issue. And that's the same to it when people are going, cut out carbs, cut out all this kind of stuff. And, that's kind of the way to look at it. And hopefully that will take some of the stress off stuff, Katie, because, if you're getting stressed about stuff, that's, at some point you're going to go, well, okay, I'm just going to do whatever I want, and that's the thing. The next part of what you're saying there is, you have these thoughts, these thoughts that, I'm not good enough and all this kind of stuff. Well, in my opinion, rarely are they actually truly food related. What they are comes down to self-worth and self-esteem. And these are things that, as you work with the Conquer Food program, you'll start to build. And then we talk about having a past with binge eating. It starts to give you a complex, and from one extreme to another. Yeah, so, and this is what we're talking about. Last week, Katie, I don't know if you managed to catch the training, but we talked through the tree of truth, and we talked about like real change and all this kind of stuff, and this thing with your diet, this is like the twigs on the tree, and this is where a little bit of change takes place, but it's not, not a great deal. But the trunk is then, these are things that we wouldn't really, if we sat next to someone on a train, we wouldn't probably tell them that. We wouldn't tell them these things like, I binge eat, and sometimes I throw up afterwards or all this. We wouldn't necessarily share that. But then there's a deeper thing, and it's like, well, I hate myself because of this, and this, and they're like the roots. What's I see from the flow of your comment there, Katie, is that there are some fundamental things in your beliefs about yourself which you need to work on. And, what the good news is, okay, I've known you a long time now. I see progress all the time. And I know I don't see you day to day, face to face, but I can see what you're doing. I can read between the lines in your comment, and I know that things are much better now than they were, So you've really got to give yourself some credit as to how far you have come, And I hope you don't mind me sharing, and I'm sorry if it upsets you, but it's got to be said. You fucking won because you're still here, Kay. You're still here, and there was a time when it was fucking touch and go. I know it was. The last part of your comment, you have this idea of people won't see me as being the greedy girl. and it's your behaviour, and you build yourself up about your behaviour. And what we teach at camp is that your behaviour is not you, right? And people don't dislike you. They might not like your behaviour, but it doesn't mean they don't dislike you. I hope that kind of makes sense. Sometimes in the past I've got an egg box before, and I've sort of said, right, what's this? It's an egg box. Okay, open up the egg box. What's inside? An egg. Take out an egg. And they say, right, is that still an egg box? Yes. You are still you. But the egg represents behaviour. And I don't know if you know this, but if you do you know why an egg, stay with me by the way, because I know this seems a bit random. Do you know why an egg is egg-shaped? And lots of people don't know why an egg is egg-shaped. But it boils down to strength and protection. But also, it's egg-shaped because when a lot of eggs are up in trees, on the side of cliffs and all this kind of stuff. And when you roll an egg, it rolls around in a circle. So that if an egg fell out of a nest, chances are it would roll around in a circle, wouldn't drop off the ledge. The shell is all about protection. Your behaviour is all about protection. I know I've gone a bit of a rant here, but your behaviour back in the day, when you had this idea that you was a greedy girl and all this kind of stuff, was your protection mechanism back then. It doesn't make you. Not everyone understands that, but if you understand that and you start to treat other people in the same way, then other people are going to start picking up on it as well. And what you will find is that a lot of people that you think, they think I'm stupid or whatever, will actually hold you in really high regard, like I do, and like Paula does. You are a source of inspiration that we share with boot campers all the time. So, take a bit of that. Hi, Nicola. How you doing? Katie, I'm not sure I answered that, but I know I've been a bit of a rant, and hopefully it kind of helps. The fundamentals are, only you will know what is right way for you to eat. I can advise you, what portion of dish you should have and what foods that you might want to cut out for your goals, and how frequently you should eat stuff and all this kind of stuff. But you, I don't know your lifestyle and all this kind of stuff, and you've just got to test it and analyze it as you're going along and find stuff that works for you. Okay, so that's that. What we got, Greg? To be honest, that's exactly what it was. I had the chocolate to keep me from nodding off. Yeah, of course, and that's fine. That is the right context. If we're doing it every day, that's the wrong context. The food is fundamentally the same. Right then, next one then. So it's back to Helen. So basically, I posted before the sugar-free challenge workbook. So I've sent a workbook in the group. I'll share it again after this. But you'll be able to find it in the Conquer Food community group. It's for our sugar-free challenge. And Helen had a little peek and she said, look, I'm doing most of this stuff already, which is brilliant. But you did say most, which suggests that there are other stuff you're not doing. And that's what we need to focus on. 3 questions. She says, I've stuck to 1 cup of coffee a day, but I use skim milk. I don't like full fat. Is that okay? Yeah, it's okay, because 1 cup of coffee, remember, no good food, no bad food, just around context. So Helen is having 1 cup of coffee a day with a splash of skimmed milk. Is that okay? Yes. That of course it's okay. If you're having 10 cups a day, you might want to change it out. If you might be thinking, well, is full fat better than skimmed? Well, it is moderately better. Because this is what I want to get across to you, is whenever we have something in its natural state and we remove fat, we lose a lot of the taste. And as humans, there's a few tastes that we absolutely love. One is we love the taste of fat. And the other one is we love the taste of sugar. If we remove the fat and we want to give some kind of low-fat food, we usually replace the taste with sugar. Therefore, the low-fat alternative usually has more sugar in it, more sugar content. The ratio of sugar to protein, to all the other macros is higher, and therefore the insulin response is higher and all this kind of stuff. But we're talking a little bit. If you're having glugs and glugs of it, glasses of it, cartons of it, and all this kind of stuff, then we might have a look at that. But I think you're all right. It's a marginal thing, an absolute marginal thing, Helen, for that. She did say she's not gone back to sweeteners. Brilliant. But although sweeteners are sugar-free, we get the same response in the body from sugar. Sometimes it's up to 1,000 times more powerful. Thought we couldn't eat cheese, or is it certain cheeses? Right, okay, so the cheese thing, you're probably thinking because at camp we run a paleo meal plan, all right, and where dairy doesn't really feature. Dairy doesn't feature because, if you think about what dairy does, okay, so, and cow, dairy from a cow. Calves drink cow's milk when they're first being born because what it gives them is a massive burst of growth. So milk is growth serum. Yeah, that's where you're going to look at it. It is just like rapid growth serum. Nothing will make you grow faster than dairy, okay? And there's lots of other stuff. Back in the day, the weightlifting days in Russia, whenever a Russian strength athlete, and they were light years ahead of everybody else when it comes to strength and that kind of stuff, and when they first started a new campaign to build muscle and gain strength, their protocol was to start drinking an extra gallon of milk a day, and their growth would just be massive. Okay, so that's that. If you're trying to manage weight, do you want to be drinking growth serum? Probably not. So that's one thing. The next thing is because it's such rapid growth, there is real strong research suggesting that dairy can trigger cancerous cells that lie dormant in our body. All right. So, and we don't know whose cells are going to be triggered, whose cells are not. It's a bit of a lottery. Who knows? And so that we don't prescribe that at camp because how could I? How could I give you something that's potentially cancerous like that, knowing that this is potentially what it can do? So in paleo, it's not prescribed. You don't eat cheese. That doesn't mean to say that you can't manage weight without cheese. Actually, cheese is one of my things. There's some things that I just won't give up, and I will have a bit of cheese every now and again. I love cheese, but it's one of those things in moderation. And when it comes to certain cheeses, obviously, same again. If we're getting low-fat cheeses, that means that we've removed a lot of the fat content. All right, and fat is our friend. And they've replaced that usually with sugar, with forms of sugar. So therefore, the growth serum becomes even more insulin spiking. So we tend to go for harder cheeses of the full fat variety. That's basically the answer. Helen, does that kind of answer your question there? And whilst you give you a chance to answer. Hello, Jonathan. How are you doing? And Ravi, I heard the milk growing story on parade so many times. Trainers all know. Yeah, we do. It's a common thing. We put milk out in the morning at boot camp, and then people come back saying, "Oh, we've run out of milk." Well, who's drinking glasses of milk then? And because people don't realise that it is this growth serum, and they're there to lose weight, and they're drinking stuff that's going to make them bigger quickly. So can have it, but not much. Yeah, it's just moderation. Yeah, it really is moderation. And I think what you're doing there with your skimmed milk is more than moderation. And with your cheese, I can't really give you a figure as to how much a week or a day or something like that. It's one of those things, if you find that you're buying a block of cheese and you're just scramming it all in a day, you've got a bit of an issue there. You need to pull it back a little bit. And if you're having 100 grams of cheese in a sitting, then you're kind of going to get away with it. So I hope that answers your question. Other stuff as well is, you can add a bit of feta to your salads and make it a bit more interesting. A bit of halloumi. Paul is a massive advocate of halloumi. So you've got to be careful that what we prescribe at camp is paleo, in which cheese doesn't feature. We keep a little bit of cheese at camp because it helps with taste and all that kind of stuff. And Helen, you're right. Feta stuffed in chicken a couple of times a week, perfect. You're on the right tracks. You bang on right. And then the last question there is pork white meat? No, strictly speaking, pork is a red meat. It's just that, you know, as we cook it, it sort of whitens out a little bit. So, you know, in moderation again on your red meat if you eat pork. So that's that. Right. Any other questions? If you've got questions, then stick them in the box here. That was all the questions that we had preset. Little message from Katie. Thank you. Camp led on to the decision to become a mental health nurse. Yeah, I know it did. And you know, that's what we're super proud of you for. And since that decision, I've been full of purpose and drive. It saved my life. I fucking know it does, Kate. That's, you know, it is incredible that you're still, your heart's still pumping, if I'm honest, you know, and you need to give yourself a little bit of credit for that. I think, you know, like Paula says, you're always going to have these little demons, and living positively and making changes, they don't get rid of these demons. You know, everyone needs to understand this, you know, working on your mindset and all that, it doesn't stop shit from happening. It doesn't stop shit in your life, and it doesn't stop thinking these horrible thoughts in your head sometimes. But what it helps you do is fly above it. You know, it helps you change your state and not suffer as much as you suffered in the past. You know, it's always a constant effort, but it's well worth it. You know. Okay, any other questions there? Ash, have you got any points? Any other points that you wanna say? Let me know. I think what we've got here. I know I'm always asking questions. No, you go for it, Helen. But on the sugar-free PDF, it says eat within an hour of waking up. Do we have to? You don't. If that's not something that fits for you, you don't have to. No. You know, there's a thing to say that, you know, what we're going to do is get things going. You know, spark up. You know, kickstart our metabolism, all this kind of stuff, and you don't have to, Helen, you know, if it's something that you struggle with. So, yeah, simple as that, really. In the sugar-free challenge, can we drink plain sparkling water instead of still? Yeah, 100%. The only thing with sparkling water is, and I've never actually met anybody that suffered with this or anything like that, sparkling water and the carbon dioxide in it, it's been suggested that two things. First of all, the salt is quite high in some of the cheap brands and varieties. And the other thing is that the carbon dioxide can affect the density of your bones. But I drink sparkling water every day, so does Paula, and I know loads of people that do. And, you know, knock yourself out, Jonathan, if you find it easier to drink. It's all fluid, so that's good. I don't know what has been going on, Katie. I don't need to know, but it sounds like you're a very strong person. Brilliant, Greg. Yeah. So, Kate, you know, you're getting lots of love there for your comment, and I know it's tough sometimes, but you're not alone. You know, you're not out there on your own. I know sometimes you feel like you are, and sometimes, you know, you wouldn't be able to say the things that you're kind of struggling with and all this kind of stuff. But I bet you, just give me a thumbs up on the screen. You know, because Katie said what normal people do. Who has really shit thoughts that sound like what Katie said there? You know, who suffers with similar kind of things? You know, I need beating yourself up because you need to lose more weight. There you go. So there's some thumbs there. You know, you're not trying hard enough. You know, you're a bloody failure. You know, sometimes we are our worst critics. You know, in fact, not even sometimes. More often than not, we are our worst critics. And you know, and if somebody was like stood in front of you saying the things, look at these hearts and faces, you know, they were saying these things to you, you'd probably punch them in the mouth. You certainly wouldn't be friends with them, yet we do it to ourselves day in, day out, and we allow it to happen. We allow it to go on, you know. And Paula has this saying where she says, you know, do not accept anything that doesn't empower you, you know. And these comments are not empowering, you know, they're not empowering you at all. They're not lifting you up, they're beating you down. And you know, the key thing is, you sort of said what normal people do. There is not a single normal person out there. Everybody's got their own little skeletons in the closet. Everybody's battled with something. I've learned that, you know. Ash, you know, he talks about, you know, his issues with food in the past and his issues with life and all this kind of stuff. And everybody's got it. Everybody's got it. There isn't a single normal person I know. You know, they might have this brilliant facade, but everybody's got something. everybody, Katie, you know. Okay, as you said, I've seen so many times throughout my career that people try to out-train a bad diet. It can't and never works. People need to address their diets and not look for the answers in exercise. It's a real obvious thing to do. You know, you start putting on a bit of weight and you're like, right, I need to get in the gym, you know. But the way we look at it is the real foundations of changing your image happen in the kitchen. Exercise is just a catalyst. It just speeds up the process. All the hard work is done by your food or the food that you don't consume, you know. Exercise just speeds these things up. You know, that's all it does. So good point that. Right, if any other comments come in, I'm keeping an eye on that, and I'm going to get amongst it. What's this, Ash? Mindset is everything. Yeah, the more you punish yourself with guilt, the more you're stuck in the vicious cycle between emotional and the logical brain, you know, and that's it really. Food could be so nice though, like tonight. Salmon. Greg, I didn't know what he was going to say there. But you're right, you know, food is nice. Food is incredible, you know. Sometimes you eat something, you're like, fucking hell, that's beautiful. But I often, you know, when we get into this habit of eating shit food, and I've had this conversation today about somebody that wants to eat, you know, they're desperate for a Burger King. And I'm like, why? You know, when you really, if you sat and ate it consciously and you savoured every taste and the feel in your mouth and all that, it's nothing like a piece of salmon, you know. It's nothing like some fresh, you know, some fresh food, or, you know, it's just nothing like it. We just shovel it into our gobs. I've done it. I've done it in the past, you know. So, okay, right. So tonight we're preparing to launch our sugar-free challenge. 30 days sugar-free. Now, I don't want to pile loads of pressure on you. So you can do a couple of days, you can do 7 days, you can do 14 days. We're going to run for 30 days. Paula and I are going to run for 30 days and share a couple of things as we crack on and go along. All right, and in the group I've posted some instructions. You'll see it in there, the sugar-free challenge. And what I want to do is just read through some of these instructions just to sort of explain why we're doing it. So first of all, it's 30 days without sugar. Okay, not just refined sugar, but you know, hidden sugars and all this kind of stuff as well. And why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because sugar really is one of those big hitters. You will get some incredible changes in your life when you remove sugar from your diet, you know, from what you're drinking and what you're eating. All right. So, and it is everywhere. So a couple of things I've put in a little PDF, the little booklet. Please avoid the temptation of trying to launch headfirst into the sugar-free challenge. Okay, it makes it incredibly hard. So what we suggest you do is you just start with little baby steps. Okay, where you know you just every couple of days you just dropping out another source of sugar and doing this and all this kind of stuff, and then you know just gradually leach yourself off stuff. Okay, and that's we find that people are much more successful like that. So what we're going to suggest you do is eat lots of whole foods and all this kind of stuff, and there's a list of stuff in there, and also some stuff not to eat. Okay, there's some guidance on caffeine, water, which can play a massive part in what you're doing, and then inside the list there's like a shopping list of the kind of stuff that you could be eating. And Paul and I will be kind of sharing what we're eating on a daily basis, so you can you get some ideas and all this kind of stuff. But you really don't need to overthink it too much. So it's all in a little booklet. All you need to do tonight, this is a little goal tonight, is read the booklet and kind of think about, right, how's tomorrow going to look? What am I going to have for breakfast? What am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to do for snacks and all this kind of stuff? And you know, what am I going to do for evening meal? And the key is really just to be sort of starting, we're preparing tonight to launch into it tomorrow. So Ash just put there. Ash, can you describe the withdrawals and kind of what went on? So he's kind of said, you know, he's seen firsthand this week how powerful sugar withdrawals can be. So give us a little bit of a rundown, Ash, of what you've seen this week. Sugar withdrawals can be absolutely horrendous. You can have anything from slight headaches and confusion to almost like a tired kind of nipping headache on the front of your head to a full-grown migraine. And we've seen it all. With sugar withdrawals, you can have the shakes, you can feel uneasy, you can affect your sleep and all this kind of stuff. What you need to understand is that everything is temporary, and these sugar withdrawals usually last between 10 and 14 days. If you're a massive sugar addict, it might be a little bit longer, but most people are getting through it after about a week to 10 days, and they're already starting to feel better. The other thing that you should do tomorrow is wear yourself unclothed after being, for a wee, first thing in the morning, and get an idea, get a handle on your weight, because you remove sugar and your weight will dramatically change. Sometimes it's the fact that you just start to expel more water. Quite often it's because you're starting to run down some of the stores in your body, but you will start to lose weight rapidly. So Greg's put, maybe we shouldn't be scared of food. I've lost count of how many times I've thought to myself, no, I can't eat that. I don't know what the answer is. Is it knowledge? Knowledge of food will help us learn to enjoy healthy food, not just taste, but how to cook with whole foods. Greg, the way to look at it is our mind doesn't process a negative, right? So what I mean by that is, in fact, the best way to describe it is, when you're walking along and you see a sign saying wet paint, do not touch. What do you want to do? You want to fucking touch it. You want to touch the paint, don't you? And how often have you touched the paint? As a kid, and you're like, yeah, I've got paint all over my hands now. And it's exactly the same with food. It's exactly the same if we want to stop smoking or stop drinking. We start saying to ourselves, don't eat. I no longer want to eat. I want to stop smoking. Remove the negatives from there. Or, don't smoke. Remove the negative. What we're telling ourselves, smoke. So every time we're thinking, don't do this, actually we're reminding ourselves to do it, So it's no good kind of going, today don't eat cake, because all you're saying is today eat cake in your mind. So the best thing to do is to go, today eat an apple. Or whatever your swap is, or whatever you swap the food for, so you sort of go, right, instead of concentrating on not eating cake, which never works well, concentrate on eating something better, and because your mind will look to, to do that, to fulfill that goal. I hope that kind of helps. So Ashley's put, shaking, vomiting, erratic, emotional, etc., not nice. Yeah, Jonathan, I remember, mate, it was your second day. It wasn't even your first. Well, it was your first week, but it was your second day at camp, and we had to get the paramedics in because of the shock to your body, And it was an incredible shock, and obviously we thought, "Fucking hell, we're going to kill him on day 2." But we wasn't worried. We knew what it was, but yeah, it can really hit you hard. Really hit you hard. 30 days without alcohol, I'm going to need drugs. Ellen. Well, alcohol is a sugar. When you're looking at your food labels, anything that sort of says, any word that ends in O's, as in sucrose, dextrose, multidextrose, and all that kind of stuff is a sugar. Anything that ends in, what else? Got ol, so alcohol, sorbitol, erythritol, all these different ols is sugar. And obviously A's, so different freaking lactase and all these different types of stuff. These are all types of sugar, and alcohol is a sugar. The key thing about alcohol as a sugar is it's got no other use in the body as other than energy. It doesn't bring anything else. No other vitamins and minerals and all this kind of stuff. So Helen, what I would suggest you do is you kind of concentrate on like a glass of red wine when you really need to, or tequila. Tequila is a pretty good form of alcohol compared to many others, and gradually wean yourself off it. But it's only 30 days, and which means it's only temporary. It's not like you're giving up this for the rest of your life, although you might give up for the rest of your life when you see the great benefits of dropping out the sugar and the alcohol. So, just have a little think about that. But really interested to see how you get on with that. And if you struggle, make sure you share it. Basically, every day in the group, we're going to put up a little thread where it's the sugar-free thread where you can kind of check in, let us know how you're getting on, what your plan is for that day, or how you're doing, what you're struggling with, and we'll have this little thread every day where we kind of share it, what's going on. Okay, so that's kind of how it's going to work. Okay, that's an hour. We've hit an hour. Paula never turned up. I don't know if she's downstairs or what. We're gonna bring it to an end now. If you've got any final afterburners that we can just answer quickly, then whack them in. If not, we're going to start wrapping up. And obviously, this replay will be in the members area later on. A couple of people. I don't know if Ada's watching or Greg's watching. Greg, I know you're watching, but I know you've had trouble getting into the members area before. So, have you got in? Ada, have you got in? Have you got in there and found the stuff you're looking for? Just so you know, with regards to the website, we are working on the registration. It's not quite as seamless and smooth as we wanted it to be. So we're working on that, and we'll do a couple of changes in the next couple of days. So it'll be a little bit easier. And obviously, we're going to have new content in the next couple of days for the next module. So, all right. So I don't know how long the delay is. We've got a couple of comments here. Oh, hang on a minute. There's loads. Down end of the month, have lads reunion. It's alcohol for breakfast. Well, all you got to do, Greg, is just get to it. Get to that end of the month. When is it? This end of the month or next end of the month? If it's this end of the month, get it out of the way. Let's crack on afterwards. If it's next end of the month, fine. Build up a bit of a deficit before you get to it. Okay, so work up towards it and then crack on. Hey Emma, how you doing? I hope you're well. Margaritas. There's a drink called a SoCal, Southern California Margarita, which is tequila. It's I think it's soda water and then the juice of 2 limes or something like that. It's a really nice drink and it's pretty good. Is bread a total no? Greg, your choice. If bread's something that wholemeal is definitely a better alternative better than white bread and all that kind of stuff. Stick to your wholemeal. Aim for 4 or 5 days with your wholemeal bread, and then maybe we can start reducing it or knocking it out after 4 or 5 days and see how you get on. Haven't got a reset password, but waiting on email. Okay, I'll have a look at that. Greg, and see if we can get you in there. So, right, anything else? Yeah, 3rd of March. Okay, yeah, so just do what you can up to there. If you do, listen, at the end of the day, if you do 5 days, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, whatever, it's still more than you would have done before. This is the first challenge we're going to run. We're going to run a challenge every month, something different. So just give it a crack. And what you need to understand is we have no expectations of you. All right, Paula and I do not expect you to bang out 30 days. The only thing we expect you to do is just try and challenge yourself a little bit more than you did before. And then the rest is kind of up to you. So do what you're comfortable with and do what your lifestyle allows. All right, and then see how we go. Okay, guys, we're going to bring that to an end now. So thank you very much for joining us on the training. Like I said, we'll have this in the members area. Keep your little comments going. We're starting to get a little bit of interactivity in the Facebook group now, which is phenomenal. And what I'm going to work on doing is perhaps getting a couple of other guests in the training when we can have a specific topic. But I'll just keep you posted and see how we go from there. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.